Welcome to BlackBeltBeauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are all feeling great. It's Solosode time again. And this time I wanted to just resurface a recent post of mine. The post was an image of me posing in my bikini. And I will say that when I took this picture, I never really thought that I would use this as an Instagram post. Yeah, it's funny. I actually sent it to my brothers to show kind of progress with, my resistance training and aesthetics and all that. But anyways, like all my posts on Black Belt Beauty, where I post every day, they're all authentic in the moment, And in this moment, when I looked back at this picture, I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I got some shit to share about this. So essentially, I'm not going to reread what I wrote, or maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe I will. Okay, fuck it. Let's do it. So, real talk. I used to be that girl who was afraid to lift weights. I already carried muscle naturally from my mesomorph body type, but the truth was it wasn't all muscle. When I was 16, a long time ago, I injured my knee, and the result was 3 back-to-back surgeries on it. During that time, eating much of a typical American diet and not having the deep knowledge I have now in biology and fitness, body fat was gained and my lean muscles were not so lean anymore. I was a competitive runner in my early childhood with extremely low body fat, so the visible switch after surgeries was not easy for me to process at all. I always blamed my muscles for being the reason why I wasn't vibing with my body's image, feeling big and not in my true shape. My brothers, who were athletes, continuously told me I was wrong and to lift weights. I didn't believe them, so I focused on cardio and adventured through so many different kinds of diets. In hindsight, the journey was so valuable as I became a lover and total geek in biology, dialed into my body IQ, cracked the code to my body's optimal diet, and finally, after so many different methods of training, I picked up heavy weights and got to work with them. I'm sharing this first to say nothing great and of true sustainable value is an overnight process. Hard stop. I'm also sharing this because after learning through my journey, I feel like my voice on this subject is important to share, being that it may support other women out there who are in the same place that I was years ago. I've never felt as strong, as agile, as flexible, as confident, as connected to my body, as feminine, and as sexy as I do now at 39 years of age. And the best part is that swapping out more hours of steady state cardio with little to no weight for more hours of consistent dedicated lifting that include heavy weights throughout the week, my body has become so much more of a fat burning machine, which means I can eat more and not work as hard as I used to. The takeaway here is don't be afraid to challenge your beliefs, be patient and consistent, and love yourself all the way to what you envision for yourself. So before I say one more thing about that post, I want to call myself out and let you guys know that wasn't easy for me to post. Not so much of me in a bikini, who cares? I'm a surfer. I'm always in my bikini, and that's, seen online all the time. It was more of like the posing. That was really interesting for me. But I went for it because the purpose behind the image was so much stronger than the image. And I also want to mention that, my body type is my body type, and maybe, it does appear to be stronger than what other women out there desire for their own bodies. So it definitely wasn't a post to say, this body type is the ultimate body type. Although I love my body type and I am proud of it very much, more than I've ever been. And I think that I looked at that photo and it brought me through my journey of, from having those surgeries, and those surgeries were gnarly. It wasn't like, oh, I just hurt my knee and I got to get a little quick fix. It was like 3 back-to-back gnarly surgeries that had me taken out and in my bed for several months. I had my meniscus tore twice, and the first time it tore, the piece that was torn was stuck between my joints, and so my knee was stuck in a bent position for 1 month before I could have surgery. So that was a hard time for me. And again, I didn't have any of the answers, the knowledge, I didn't need to, I didn't need to know all that I know now when I was 16, in the sense of, I was an athlete with super low body fat. Like, I had a fucking 8-pack. I'm not lying. It was crazy. My dad had me lifting weights at like 9 years old because I was a competitive runner, and, me and my siblings, and so it was just, I never had to think about this concept of weight gain and, what to eat and what not to eat. In fact, it was super crazy that, when I was competing as a young girl, this is like in the carb load days, I would be given homemade peanut butter cookies with M&Ms in it and hot chocolate, and then a fucking Snickers bar right before my race. And I didn't even want the Snickers bar. It was disgusting to me. I mean, my dad obviously didn't know what was happening. I mean, it was the concept of carb load and kick ass, and I was winning, man. I definitely was, I was winning. But it wasn't the Snickers, so that wasn't advertising for them. But anyways, back to the photo. I'm scrolling through, looking at some images, and I don't know, I looked at that picture and I felt this desire to want to share that part of my story with all of you in support of other women who are potentially feeling that way. I remember, feeling, first of all, I think that there's been a lot out there in the fitness world that has marketed, this concept of don't lift heavy weights to women because it's going to make you bulky. That fucking word, bulky. I hate that word. It's what is that word? What is it? It's so ugly, and it puts this ugly image. What woman wants to be bulky? So the minute you say bulky next to weights, no girl's going to touch a weight for sure. But the truth is, and it's not true, and that's what I really wanted to express with that post. It's not true. And I fell for it straight up. My body type builds muscle easy. I'm the girl who can build muscle. Trust me when I say that it's much harder than you think. In the last year, there's been such a focus on my glutes and, like just big and strong, right? That's my ideal. I want a big and strong ass. It is not easy to get that. And, so it's just funny what's happened in the last several years, a couple of years, of me, challenging my beliefs and saying, fuck it, I'm going to pick up weights. I'm going to make them heavy and I'm going to get down on this. I mean, it's just sculpted my body in the most beautiful way. I feel so strong and I feel so sexy. I feel so tuned into the true shape that I was born to be living. And the mental part of this is that it's like not being afraid to challenge your fears, basically. Does that sound right? Not being afraid to challenge your fears. It's amazing what happens when you do, what's on the other side of it. I feel liberated. I crave my weight days now. Like my lift sessions are some of my favorite training sessions. And, they're not fast and hard. They're just slow and they're technical. I'm super focused on form. I'm meditating the whole way through. And it's really beautiful. So everyone's going to gravitate to what they feel connected to when it comes to training. And, some of you might just feel, yoga's your thing or running's your thing. And I do all of it. I like it all for the most part. I mean, my training consists heavily of, lifting, running, beach runs. I like sand runs, a little bit of resistance, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu for sure, yoga, lots of hot training. I like hot yoga. I like hot kind of cardio mixed with weights in a very heated room. Surfing. Yeah, I like to mix it up. Track days, to focus on speed and explosiveness. But anyways, my point is that don't hold yourself back from this idea of, weights making you potentially look masculine, because trust me, if it's not doing that to my body, there's a really good chance it's not going to do it to yours. You have to be eating in a heavy surplus and lifting really heavy weights and be genetically gifted to gain that kind of muscle. I mean, look how hard it is for men to gain muscle. So it's not, it's all in the head, and understandably so, because again, I think, a lot of it in my personal experience did come from me and, my own kind of thought process about it. But then when you hear this, don't lift weights past 3 pounds out there, and, you're looking at someone who's fit and it's like, okay, well, it kind of adds to that fear. Fuck that. So, I just wanted to share this. I thought that, it's the beginning of the year, and I know that a lot of you are really focused on, finding a good training program for yourself and staying connected and committed to it. Don't cut yourself short with the weights. I would love to hear what if you do start lifting weights or you're already into it, and I want to know what you feel like, because I bet anything that once you get into it, you're not going to want to miss those days. There's something super sexy about feeling really strong. I don't know. It could just be me, but I feel it. So, yeah, you guys, I hope that this helped to eliminate any kind of fear or hesitation that you guys might have when it comes to resistance training. I want to shout out a podcast that I love, and these guys, so the podcast is Mind Pump. These guys are just rad, super knowledgeable, like legit, science-backed knowledge, experienced trainers. These guys are incredible. They have programs. I haven't tried them personally yet. That's just because I'm like in my own thing, but I actually really want to. I'm not sure which one yet, but they have, a variety of programs out there that could be really helpful for those of you that are, wanting to have a very specific focused program, which I actually think is very helpful. When I started to lift weights consistently, my brother Arya Safai, who is an Olympia IFBB pro bodybuilder, he put me on a program, and I stuck to it, and that really made a big difference for me. So, Arya is, he's kind of like my personal coach, when it comes to lifting, and Arya is actually why I know of Mind Pump, because he was a guest on their show a while back ago. And ever since then, I've just fallen in love with this podcast, these guys. So I would definitely follow their podcast and check out their programs, follow their Instagrams. It's dope. They, like I said, they're like a real important tool in my kick-ass toolkit. So check them out. I'll put them in the show notes as well. And I'm going to wrap this up by just saying, keep kicking ass. Everyone starts with all this energy at the top of the year and this motivation. And then, it's proven that after 3 months, it kind of dwindles away. So let's keep it going, and hit me up if you have any questions. On Instagram's a great place for me. I'm really active there on Black Belt Beauty. But my website's great as well. Any which way that you can, hit me up. Let's connect. I am really looking forward to that, truly. And again, I hope that this added value to your, motivation and your training mindset. And yeah, can't wait to hear what you think about it. All right. I'm sending you all lots of love and fearless, kick-ass energy. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for taking the time to check out this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please share it with your friends. Head over to iTunes, subscribe to this podcast, rate it, leave me an honest review. Let's connect. I'm so excited to do that in this space and really create content that elevates your mind in support of your best performance in life. You can find me on Instagram at BlackBeltBeauty. I'm active there every single day, and I look forward to connecting with you all. So thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.